Oh, okay. Well, I've
So,
been recently working on my Highlander fanfic. That's been fun.
well, we
All
can we can go into that as well. Yeah,
right.
but yeah, I mean, so yeah, the idea is that I sort of like to go introduce. I go, well, I'm Marv. Hey, up, it's Marv, and I'm speaking to, or hi, it's Marv. I'm speaking to Oreo Brewer, who is going to tell us now about a creative that he enjoys the work of as well. So that's the
Yeah.
sort of idea. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite creative would have to be, let's see, Jacked Up Review podcast that I've been on the past couple years. Cam is a
Cam is
hell of a guy.
awesome. Yeah.
I know. I love him. He's so good. And he's just so, I can't put in the words, like, he's such a great guy. Like, he doesn't bullshit. He doesn't lead you on. He's upfront. He's very communicative. I love that. Like, the communication with him is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And his topics that he picks are so good. And he's interviewed so many amazing people.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite podcasts with him was with Carly Burke. She worked on a number of shows, including X Files, Third Watch, uh, something I forget something else she worked on. But I didn't know who the hell she was at first, and then after the podcast was over, I looked at her. I was like, oh shit, I met somebody popular.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was really cool. Like, because her and her friend do an X Files podcast themselves, and we were doing a retrospective on the series itself, and I learned a lot, like from the production standpoint, and how the show always made its budget. They barely ever went over budget.
Yeah.
And the fact that the places they were filming, I learned were different or not different, difficult to film because of where they were. Like if it was in New York, it was a clusterfuck. If it was in DC or Virginia or any popular city that a show takes place in, it's going to be hectic because they have to deal with getting permits from traffic, the police, the fire department, all that, because they have to have the permits for everything.
Yeah.
And I was so enamored by that because I never knew that shit. So it was nice learning new stuff while, fawning over a popular fandom that we both knew of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Cam just knows how to connect everybody together perfectly, and I love that.
he's also another good thing. I mean, I've been on his show twice,
Yeah,
and it's wide ranging as well. He will speak about whatever he feels like speaking about. It's not just one subject.
true. Every
Which
time me and him
yeah,
get together, oh my god, we'll start out with like, let's see, tonight we're going to be doing a dating podcast.
oh cool,
And yeah, that's fun because there's a whole lot of shit about dating that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And he's bringing other people in. I guarantee me and him are going to veer off into various areas, and it all ties back to dating at the same time because that's how we roll.
oh. Oh man, he should get Ryan from Walk the Line podcast on because some of Ryan's stories about dating are incredible, but they're all real as well. And there's things that, like, when he said about what was it? One of the dates he went on made me absolutely howl with laughter because he said that he'd gone out on this date, with this girl that he was hoping to get a relationship or whatever, and and he was sort of there talking away, and there were like one or two word answers from her and not much else or whatever, and he was going into depth, and then he said the next morning, or a couple of days later, they were sending, he was trying to send messages, and eventually she got back to him or whatever, and or he got back to her a couple of days later or something. I can't remember exactly, But I do remember what he said as a response or whatever. And I said, I've been really badly. I've been in the hospital since.
Mm.
And he said, oh, what did you go to the hospital for? And he says, oh, I broke my back trying to hold a conversation with you together.
Oh, I hate people like that. God. It's such a bitch. Like, I have had them same struggles because dating in your late 30s for me is bitch because
Yeah.
it's one, hard to find someone that wants to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Two, most of them don't even know how to keep a conversation going.
Yeah.
And three, it's pointless. It's just so pointless. I have tried and failed numerous times. And there was times last decade I just got flat out rejected left and right. And I'm like, oh, I'm done. Tired trying. It's annoying.
Yeah. I'm one of the lucky ones, who's found somebody but it is pure luck if you think about it, that you find that one person that you gel with
Yeah,
perfectly. It's like a 1 in a million chance of that happening if you think about it, really.
it is. It is luck. It's all about it's luck and hoping that the vibe and energy are going to be reciprocated. If they aren't, it's a lost fucking cause.
Anyway, I'm interested in this new thing that you're working on then, because we were talking when you were on, and this is weird because this will go out possibly the same week as your episode goes out, actually, I think.
Yeah.
So we were talking about your writing on Wattpad as Immortal Beloved. We were talking
Yeah.
about the Star Trek stuff, no Star Wars stuff that you
Yeah.
write, but you're going into the worlds of Highlander a bit more now, which is fascinating because I think that's a franchise or a project or a product that hasn't been mined in all the different areas that it could be. Because basically, all I've seen it as is like they've done the film, they've done the TV series, and then the other films after that.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
sort
there's
of
been
they're sort of like variations of the same thing, almost the same thing as the first film, and they've not looked at the wider where else could that go or that world. What could that bring you? So, what are you working on then?
yeah, Highlander itself is it's easily the bare bones franchise to get into because it has simple rules.
Yeah,
There's barely any complexity to it.
yeah,
All it you can only take an immortal's head off with a sword. You can't have kids, and you can't fight on holy ground.
yeah,
And it's tons of time travel, so there's different eras to mess with, and that's fun because that makes it an extremely cheap film and series to make. There's the series with Duncan MacLeod, there's
yeah.
the animated series with Quentin MacLeod, there's the spin-off The Raven. I haven't watched the three series because I've been so wrapped up in other shit.
Yeah.
There's all the movies. There's an anime. I love the anime the most. That's good shit.
Mm.
And there was a video game that was supposed to come out in 2007, but it got canceled because there wasn't enough funding for the studio. And I was mad about that because I was so excited hearing about that. And there's comics as
Yeah.
well. I just recently uploaded Highlander Origins to Kurgan on my YouTube channel. That was fun.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know there were comics. I was like, oh shit, there's comics. Yay. So I'm getting on these comics and shit to get more story. And my fanfic itself, it's called Synergy. It takes place after the events of the source. And
Yeah.
I know people don't like the source for various reasons, and I can see why. It's a product of the 2000s because there's too much shit in it, and it's bogged down by quadruple special effect shots left and right. But overall, the story is good, and I decided to follow that with Duncan and Anna's son growing up
Yep.
and following in his footsteps. And I wrote it the first time as Brothers of the Immortal in 2012, 2013. And then I stopped working on it in 2016 and just I lost interest.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus on it. So I was like, screw it, I don't need it anymore. So I jumped to Star Wars. And then after I was done with that, I got bored of Star Wars and I'm just done with the franchise because it's so bloated and boring now.
Yeah.
And I decided I said, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to revise this Highlander story and rewrite it and really flesh it out. And so far, I've had a ball with it. I have reworked the first 21 pages of it. I have a cast listing. Cast listing and part one are both posted on my Wattpad now to check out. But my main enemies in this damn story. Exposition, because I was so vague about shit. Commas, because every other sentence I had 5 or 6 fucking commas in it. And the main words of and, but, well, then, because, I, so, well, and something else. There's another word I had to get rid of because I'm like, God damn it. Like, I literally looked up how many times I had and in my story before I went forward, and I had it listed up as 1,037 times. I'm like, no, no, just no. And the main deal is having to condense so much shit. And that's fun. Condensing sentences is great. And the main story of Highlander Synergy is Sean McLeod dealing with experiencing the quickening at age 10, but not having to take someone's head until he was 26. Right. And Atlantis comes back, and it's heavily inspired by Atlantis Lost Empire. I love that movie. That is my top favorite Disney film of all time, and it's so much inspired from that. And I rolled with that and made it fun. And combining two different things was so easy because Highlander's easy franchise. It's the easiest fandom ever. All it is, and swords. That's the other thing. Swords. It's always got to be swords. No matter what you got, it's always got swords in it. And that makes it so much fun versus guns because guns are fucking boring.
Yeah.
They're cool, but swords are so much better and take so much skill to handle. Like I learned from a small not a doc. Yeah, I guess a small documentary. I don't know, behind the scenes for Last Jedi when Daisy and Adam Driver were dueling. They were using 5-pound hilts. And I didn't know that. I had no idea the hilts had weight to them. And she pointed out, she's like, yeah, they're 5-pound lightsabers they were training with daily. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fucking heavy. Because I was so surprised by it. Like, that's so heavy to train with. And it's a light weight, but when you're moving it around left and right, you got to be careful of your wrist and shit. You know, it's a lot of weight to throw around because you have to balance yourself and then balance the blade.
That's true. And then how you control that depends on the weight as well. So the way that you hold it or use the weapon eventually, you will know how to actually hold a weapon that has weight or has some power behind it, as opposed to this, little flimsy thing that's in your hand that you're pretending is weighty. Instead, you'll have that knowledge of what it feels like to hold something that is 5 or even to some extreme 10-pound, saber, for instance, would be really, really heavy.
Yeah, because claymores are, I think they're 3 to 8 pounds, and they're 5 and 6 feet long. So you have to you have to ground yourself, and then be able to pivot with that because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
and make sure you don't throw yourself off balance doing that. And people are like, "Oh, guns are so amazing." Like, no, they're fun. They are, but not that fucking much. Like, give me a sword any day. That takes more skill than a gun.
I mean it makes sense in a way that they would make a comic out of it in a way, because with the sword play especially, I could
Mm-hmm.
see that working in a manga way, or
Yeah.
in a way like you do with comics like Ra. Is it Rai? I can't remember. I think it is, that I got from it might have been Dark Horse Comics. I can't remember. No, it's from Valiant Comics. They do a Japanese series, or they did,
Oh.
which was a Japanese samurai. And that, to me, is a perfect match for the comic style that you could use
Yeah.
in a Highlander.
You would like Highlander's Search for Vengeance, then. That was, oh, that's so good.
Right.
I love that. That's my favorite anime. That's my favorite Highlander movie next to Endgame. It's one of the top best. And every time I watch it, I never get tired of it because it's so deep and it's so exciting every time.
And now they're going to start it all over again with a new film, apparently, replacing the
Yeah,
original.
Henry Cavill's and Batista's supposed to be playing Kurgan, from what I last heard about that. I don't mind. I don't mind it, honestly. It'll be interesting to see how Henry handles the role and how Dave handles being Kurgan. I mean, he's got the stature for Kurgan, definitely,
Yeah,
and he's
absolutely.
definitely seeing it. It's fun. I like watching different wrestlers who decide to jump into Hollywood, because a lot of them will evolve in different ways.
Yeah.
When Dwayne did it, like, he's still good, but he's never really branched out past action roles.
No.
When John Cena did it, like, he's branched out to doing comedies.
Yeah.
And then Triple H, he's just whatever with roles. And then Batista did it, and he's really evolved. He's
Yeah.
really evolved his shit. Like, he looks his best role that I like recently that I watched was Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised how small he made himself for being 6'6". Like, this big man is crying and feeble in a role, and I'm like, damn, that's impressive for being that big and tall. Like, shit. Wow.
But the drama of his style, though, I mean, you could see that coming even before, but most definitely in the first Guardians film. You could
Yeah.
see his ability for drama, Dave Bautista's ability for drama in that, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
drama in that character of Drax, which
Yeah.
goes all through all three of those films as well, and
Yeah.
well through those films. He has a really good dramatic edge to him that a lot of the others don't have,
Yeah.
that dramatic wealth that he has at the moment anyway.
Mhm. And he's so down to earth. And I like that he's so homey. Like, he's
Yeah.
a very homely person. And I love that. And it's amazing seeing him transition from wrestling to movies. And it's like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah. You need to check out who is it? Brandon Davis, who works for Comic Book. He does the show Phase Zero. He's put some videos up on his Instagram because he interviews, and he's also started to go into the world of wrestling as a wrestler. This Brandon Davis has, and in his interviews, it's interesting because he's had two interviews recently, which have been about films, and one of them was with Bautista, and another one was with Cena. And there was like a moment in both of them where they're talking, and then suddenly both of them veer off, and it's like, oh, so you're going into wrestling now, Brandon, and this, that, and the other. Both of them do it,
Yeah.
and and there's Dave Bautista saying to him that the importance is not to make it overwhelm you, and to remember what's important, what you're going in it for. There's that side to it. And then there was Cena saying to him things about, remember that safety measures are there for a reason, and it's all about this, that, and the other. And it was interesting because they were both being, it's almost like they became their real selves in front of him, and they showed who they were as people as well. They're both nice guys, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's like reminds me of Idris Elba's interview that he did with, I forget who it was, but he said that, sometimes reaching for that glass ceiling can be overwhelming to you. And it's important to not let it get to you in some way. I'm paraphrasing, but I remember him bringing up the glass ceiling because he said that he reached too high for something, and then he had to reevaluate what he was reaching for and adjust his goals accordingly. I was like, damn, that's deep.
It is.
I love Idris.
And going differently to wrestling, that makes me think of, did you see that video of Kate Winslet was being interviewed once by this girl on this, or this lady on this, young lady on a program? And this lady was like, and Kate Winslet was like, "Are you okay?" Like this to this interviewer. And this interviewer was saying, "I'm really nervous," she said, "because this is the first time I've ever interviewed anybody."
Oh, God.
Right. And then Kate Winslet's she's just there, and she sort of like taps her, sort of like pats her and says, "Look," she says, "let's do this together and make this the best interview ever." And she calmed the interviewer down, and then they got on with the interview and got a really good interview from there. And that sort of humanity coming out of the celebrity is a really nice thing to see.
Yeah, because there are ones that are super, super sweet. And then there's ones that are just total assholes.
Yeah.
But I like the sweet ones. Like, you learn who they are in an interview, but there's also the other side of the coin. It's like you know them, but you really don't know them. And I've told, like, people will get so attached to celebrities, and when said celebrity does something they don't like, it goes against their subconscious image of them, and it's shattered, then they get all toxic and shit about, like, you don't know them to begin with. They are who they are for a reason. Like, one of the funniest ones I saw was people got mad at Frasier for being a Trump supporter. I'm like, what'd you expect?
Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer. Yeah.
Kelsey
People
Grammer.
got mad at they got mad at him for being a Trump supporter. I'm like, yeah, okay, who fucking cares? I don't like Trump. I don't give a shit what Kelsey does. Like, my whole stance with celebrities and shit is, yeah, they're cool people. They're awesome, but they're still human beings. Yep. But, at the end of the day, they're still human. You treat them with respect. If you treat them like shit, and there you go. It's so stupid. If you're going to get all pissy just because they have different political views or religious beliefs than you, then you need to reevaluate who you are as a person and a human being, instead of trying to put somebody in a box that you built that they don't even know exists. They don't even know you exist. To them, you're just a random person who just liked their post. You're nobody to them.
If the person who makes your favorite burger of all time votes for somebody that you don't agree with, or has beliefs that you don't agree with, it doesn't matter. They still make the burger that you love the most.
Yeah.
And these people's products, they're only doing a job. So when these people like Kelsey Grammer go and they do this acting role in something, just because they do something that doesn't agree with your beliefs outside of that job, doesn't negate the fact that what they've produced as a product is a bloody good product. If you like it, you like it. Who cares? True. I don't agree with the religious side of Tom Cruise, but the Mission Impossible flipping stunts, Nobody does stunts like that, and nobody does films like he does.
Fuck no, he doesn't. Oh my god. I still can't believe he can go for being in his 60s, I think, or near him.
Yeah, yeah, he's in his 60s now. Yeah, yeah,
He's crazy, but I don't care about, like, when I look at a person, I base it off of first experience.
yeah.
Like, if you give me a good first experience, that's what I'm going to remember the most. And people are like that. They'll remember the first good experience, or they met them at a Comic Con, or they got their autograph, or they had a good conversation on Twitter with them.
Yeah.
I have had those experiences myself. I've had great conversations. I've had different actors and actresses like my posts that I've shared, that I've tagged them in. My favorite ones have been, let's see here. Doug Jones was cool.
Yeah.
Nana Visitor's amazing.
She's amazing. I love Nana Visitor.
She's so adorable.
She is. She is. I've got a story about Nana, actually. Which was
Nana.
So there's a podcast called Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and initially their show was all about Deep Space Nine episodes. They went through them bit by bit.
Yeah.
So I was following Nana on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was following some other Deep Space Nine people, because Deep Space Nine is a favorite show of mine. I love that show.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just thought, hold on a minute, what if I just start a group chat on Instagram that I include the guys from Keeping Up with the Kardashians and these other, Star Trek Deep Space Nine related people, and sort of like introduce them with the hope that they might actually show up on their show and take it from the level of not just being a show where they're going through each episode, but
also getting feedback.
Also,
too.
They get to be able to talk to the people that worked on it as well.
Yeah, that's fun.
And so I started that, and then suddenly Nana was the first one to respond and said, "Oh, I'd love to, essentially, be on your show." So she was the first one to go on their show, and that's how open she's. She's a wonderful, warm human being. And so she was the first one to do it, and then she, through those connections there, she got them to talk to, I'm really surprised, because the next person that they got was Ronald D. Moore.
Oh, wow.
On the show.
Damn, that's impressive.
After Nana, she got Ronald D. Moore involved in, and they've done an episode with him about Deep Space Nine. And they're planning on getting him back on again, because since they've gone through the whole of Battlestar Galactica as well.
Nice.
Which, superb. But yeah, so that's my visitor story. And we still have like private chats over Instagram and that as well. It's great. Nice. Lovely woman.
Yeah. Straczynski's another one I enjoy talking to now.
And
J. Michael.
Yeah. Robert Hewitt Wolf, he's a great person to chat with as well. He's a writer. He wrote some incredible Star Trek episodes.
Oh, wow. Paul Feig liked my tweet about Bridesmaids. That was funny. I can't remember. I did a whole thread on Voyager when I was doing a rewatch, and I tagged, let's see, Kirkwood Smith liked it.
Yeah.
I forget. There were some others I tagged that liked it and stuff. And it was fun because I was like, this is a great fucking series to rewatch.
Yeah, you go back to it and you realise, don't you? Because back then, I sort of watched and I thought, I watched all the episodes when it came out originally. And there were bits that, Year of Hell with Kurtwood, that two-parter is amazing.
And that was supposed to be an entire season, and they had to cut it down. I was so mad about that because I bought Star Trek Voyager, A Celebration. I haven't finished reading the book. I stopped at, I think, Perry Kim's stuff. And I read that A Year of Hell was supposed to be an entire season. I was so mad. I was like, why? And all because the network didn't believe in that. I'm like, really? That would have been perfect. 20 episodes of depression.
Yeah. Pathfinder is a good book as well. If you can get hold of that, that was supposed to be in Voyager as well as a I think it was going to be a 3-part, and they said no to that, but that ended up being brought out, and it was written by Jerry
Ryan,
not Jerry Ryan, the actual one of the writers.
Oh, Goldsmith. No, that's music.
Oh, what's the name? Jerry Taylor, who was one of the creators of Voyager.
Wow.
She wrote that, and it's a fantastic book, Pathfinder, I think it's called. So that was supposed to be a 3-part episode that the studio said no to that one as well. So that ended up being made into a book.
And of course, all the ideas that were originally planned ended up being comics in the future.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because I love that. Like they're like the one thing I'm loving lately is all the crossovers that have been put out by IDW with Turtles and shit, like, and He-Man and Thundercats. Like, wow, like this is a really good era of crossovers because there's so many going on in comics that would make excellent animated films.
Yeah. And if you can find them, there's some really incredible manga available of Star Trek as well.
Oh wow!
And writers for the manga stories include Will Wheaton.
Oh wow!
He's written some of their stories as well for the manga comics.
That's pretty cool. I know Michael Dorn has worked on. He branched off and actually got himself a gig at DC Comics working on Steel and giving Steel an origin story in Steelworks. I was like, wow, damn. Huh. I like this. I got to read that
yet. You're making me think now about going from DC, but with Marvel, you've got when they brought back out the comics of Black Panther, and they had flipping out. Oh, is it a top American African American writer? They had him writing for it, and it gave it an extra perspective to it. And I can't remember his name for the life of me.
It wasn't Dwayne McDuffie, was it?
No, he's not actually known for comic writing. He's actually a serious author.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God, why can't I remember his name?
Not James Patterson. No, not James Patterson. No, he does court stuff. No, that's John Grisham.
It's terrible.
This serious shit.
I'm trying to do this without any edits at all.
Oh, that's okay. Shit happens. But yeah, going back to Michael Dorn for a second and DC. Well, actually pivoting to that. One of the covers I own, it's a foil cover for Steelworks, and the artist is Jerry Gaylord. And I follow him on Instagram, and he's really cool too. I've talked to him a few times, and he recently did work for X-Men 97. Yeah. And I was surprised, but I was like, damn, that's cool. And then I heard about what happened with the showrunner for that, and I immediately messaged Jerry because I was worried that his job might have been in jeopardy. I was like, are you okay? Do you have, you good and stuff? He's like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm already done with the series. I'm on my next gig. I'm like, it's like, that's good. And he's like, he was shocked to find out what happened too. I was like, damn.
But they've already done season 2.
Yeah.
They've already written it. So it's the same people, even though they've got rid of him, they're still doing the work that he's done. The writer for Black Panther, by the way, is Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Okay.
But his writing is amazing. Taking it because he's an African American author who writes a lot about the African American and the African and the Black history. Essentially, is very much into that. So bringing that into the whole thing of the Black Panther mythos really adds a lot more sort of to it, you know, a lot more strength to it and a lot more gravitas to it.
Definitely. Like I've covered the Wakanda Atlas. I've covered Dreams of Wakanda, which Dreams of Wakanda is a great book because that covered everything that inspired Black Panther, going down to Afrofuturism and African culture itself, and really getting the authenticity of what it is in African culture that makes it so good and so rich to know. And I love that. Like, I was so impressed. And it's amazing.
Well, we're going to have to do this again, you know, because I could talk to you forever.
I know. Cam does the same shit to me every time. Like, we'll be on a good topic, and I'll be on one, and I'll hear it recording stopped. I'm like, you motherfucker.
He did it. He did it to me. We were talking about. I joined him for one of his show for a chat about James Cameron films, and then all of a sudden it was like, right, well, thanks a lot, guys. This, I'm like, what? We've only been talking 45 minutes. What the hell?
I hate that I hear recording stop. I'm like, oh, come on, man. He's like, patience. We'll come back to this. I'm like, oh,
we will. We'll definitely come back and have a chat about more. All right. Thanks very much for this. Let people know how to find you.
I am on YouTube under Oreo Brewer. I am on Wattpad under Immortal Beloved 89. Yep. I am also on Twitter under SW The Draken Saga. I am on Instagram under Oreo Brewer. I am also on Facebook under Oreo Brewer. And you can find all kinds of shit about me on all them links and places.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.